They live in Seattle.
And that was only a few
Yeah,
things
they
there,
were
so y'all really want it, like, it's back on the.
It's not my day to keep up with them.
I'm still,
Yeah,
I think
that's
it's
part of it.
because they're talking about some stuff right, but sometimes they'll stick to you too.
I want stuff, go for kids.
Yeah, me too, but then if you compare prices, you'll see that sometimes what they're doing is bigger, and you shouldn't get into that price, so.
So I won't be there
But
then. Some stuff going on at home. I call Hank.
it's like that.
No, it's no letter.
Alicia Jackson, our new regular, is supposed to be here. No, Coach Henry never know.
I call this meeting of the Wausau County Council to order. If you would please stand with us for the invocation tonight. Brother Pastor Doug Knight from the Oak Ridge Baptist Church, and remain standing to place allegiance to the flag, which is at this end of the meeting.
Bow our heads together to pray. Our Heavenly Father, we come to you and we thank you for always given the privilege to look at the things that are important and responsible. And I pray that this town council will do things that need to be done in this county for the welfare of all. Lord, we thank you for loving us and looking after us and help us to be good Christians and help us to be good citizens. It's in your wonderful name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Salute and pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We appreciate you coming tonight. We started probably a year or so ago trying to keep our area pastors and all the churches are right in Wausau, and some of the people from Wausau team. So we're reaching out to the pastors in the surrounding area. We thank you for being here tonight, and sometime in the future maybe you can come be with us again. You're certainly welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting and
We'll learn how to be a neighbor.
learn how to be. Well, you will have a good teacher tonight because we're going to Mrs. Palmer is going to chair the meeting tonight. She is the vice mayor, the vice chair, and there's a likelihood that we won't be here next. And this is her first time on serving in this role and having opportunity. So it's better for her to have some experience tonight while longer than I on the inside. So we're not going to violate the sunshine, but if you see us turn to her and say something, and if you want to hear what we're saying, we're not violating nothing else, ask us to come in. We're going to try to help her, guide her through this and the role and the actions that she might need to take. So with that said, Mrs. Palmer, it is now yours. Okay.
Agenda items, supposed to be.
On these, you would ask for any questions, anything, take it on these, and if not, then we take a motion to adopt the consent agenda. If you sit here and watch me do it, then
I'm
that'll
watching.
be next month. Okay, all right, we'll do it that way. We always want to be the best, and she will do a good job next month. Okay, second item is our consent agenda. Is there any item on the consent agenda that anyone wants to discuss or put off the consent agenda before we vote on the consent agenda? Anything on there that you want to discuss or vote on separately?
Y'all did see the grant, we got 5 sets of bumper a year awarded through the state of Florida. And our,
I think I'm going to change around, Mr. Mayor, on the backpack program, I wanted to talk about that.
that's under yours, wait.
That's on the consent agenda.
Okay.
Yeah, we're just dealing with the consent agenda.
All right.
Anything that anyone wants to take off the consent agenda or talk about it separately? The chair would entertain a motion that we approve the consent agenda.
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. After a motion is made and seconded, then there's time for discussion. Is there any discussion on the motion? Any discussion on the motion? Okay, we have a motion and a second that we approve the consent agenda. Have you voted, Mr. Colbert? Mr. Carter?
Yes.
Paul?
Yes.
The chair votes yes. Okay, Ms. Susan Cook from our library.
Well, hello, everybody. Do I need to stand? Can everybody hear me? Is that all right?
Well, go ahead, Sam.
All right, all
Then they
right.
can
My
see-
knees start knocking
They
when I
can see me.
stand up. You guys have been generous in the past, and we do our children's program in the summertime here every summer, and everybody at the town has been just great to work with us and allow us to use this space. This year, we're doing something to add a little something to our summer program, and on Wednesdays, what we'd like to do, with your permission, we're working with Feeding the Gulf Coast, and when they presented my director with the need of children being fed in the summertime and showed us how bad it was, we wanted to help. So at all of our library locations, we were trying to do something to help Feeding the Gulf Coast feed children. Because I'm a one-woman show here usually in the library, we want to try just Wednesdays when my co-worker, Zedra Hawkins, is down here to do the children's program in the afternoon. We would like to have her come in a couple of hours early so that I have assistance, and we would like to feed one meal through Feeding the Gulf Coast with the town's permission. We had the people that Dwayne is familiar with, and he's met them from Milton, come in and do a walkthrough. And it's shelf-stable food. We're not opting for the food that you have to keep refrigerated or heat or do anything to. It's all prepackaged, shelf-stable food for a small lunch. They have to be 18 years old or under. However, we don't ask for any ID. If they tell us they're 18, we believe them. It's first come, first served, and they provide us with the food, and we have it ready, and we have the children come and sit down and eat the meal on the premises. We're not supposed to send it with them because we want to ensure that the right people, the children, because it is a children's food program, are getting the food. So we have to comply with a lot of rules and regulations, and in order to do that, I need my coworker here with me to make sure we're monitoring it correctly and keeping the records. But we wanted to ask the town's permission to try this just one day a week on the day that Zebra's down, and have the children come in for a late lunch around 2 o'clock. We'll have our program at 3:30, so they can, and it's, we estimate the number we need the first time, and we base the amount of food we ask for on how many people show up to prepare for the next week. We'd like to do it more, of course, but with our staff limitations, we just don't see how we can do it this year, but we'd like to see what the response is and see if we truly have the need here that they've seen elsewhere for children who are just not getting adequate nutrition in the summertime. So this is what I'm asking. If you guys have any objection, if you have any questions, if you want me to get some answers and come back with more information, if we can try this. We just like permission to try it and see who we can help.
Did they give you a price on the meals, you say, or?
They're not, this is not like a backpack program. It doesn't cost us anything.
Okay.
We do have to ensure that we're handling the food prep properly, and then we have to ensure that the right people are getting the food. And that's why we bring them in, sit them down, and they eat the meal here. But we're not dealing with anything that has to be refrigerated or heated. There is a program that does that.
Yeah.
But you have to have more health inspections, you have to meet more requirements for that. So we did not want to try that this year. This is our first time trying this. But they have indicated that the need is great.
When will the program begin?
Our program will begin here on Wednesday, June 7th, and we'll run for 6 weeks in the summertime. We will take the week of the 4th of July off because we found in library business that everybody goes away on the 4th of July and we don't draw a crowd very, very easily. So we take that week off and then we come back for 2 additional weeks.
Do you have any idea how many children we're talking about?
We do not know until we have that first week. The 25 is the minimum that they start you with. So, they will bring enough shelf-stable food to feed 25 children, and we can call or email them immediately and say we had 40, and they'll bring us more for the next week if we need it. If we do not, because it's not food that needs refrigeration or heating, we can keep the unopened food for the next time. And a lot of the records keeping has to do with that, knowing how much you need. It's been astounding when we saw the records for what they've done in the past. There was a housing project in, I'm not sure what town, I'm thinking Defuniak, that might be right. They said that they planned for 40 the first day and they had 70 people show up. And they were feeding like 150 by the end of the summer. So sometimes we have a Facebook page, like everybody nowadays. Our library has a Facebook page, and that we're doing it, and it's amazing who shows up. But we're very new to this. We've never done this before, so we don't really know what the need is. But
Is it just going to be for people in Wausau, the surrounding area, or whoever comes?
well, we serve the surrounding areas also.
So it's
So.
just pretty much whoever comes?
Whoever comes. We don't deny anybody. It would be the way the program works because of the funding. You don't deny anybody. If they look like they're 75, but they say I'm 18, you don't ask them. You let them come in, and it's.
I understand that. I know what you're talking about. You're on that.
But we just want to put it forward and see if you guys thought we should.
Is there anything that we have that goes on at City Hall on Wednesdays?
At 2 o'clock, no,
That
sir.
would be,
Not during the summer library program, no. The garden club meets on Wednesdays, but they're gonna meet during the summer.
That's right. Will you have the help that you need to set up and write down, set up and?
We believe with Zedra here and me here, the one person could theoretically do it, but because I have to monitor the library too, and somebody has to be looking to make sure things are going like they're supposed to. And you're dealing with children, so somebody's got to be. But we think with the 2 people that we'll be able to do it. And I have had volunteers who have told me that they could come in and help. However, we would have to make sure that they've got minimal training, but that they understood the rules, and we would do that before they were helping us.
So you're just looking for the council tonight, for permission to use this?
We need your permission. We'd not do it without it. And the only thing I need that I don't have is a garbage can with a cover.
How big do you need?
It doesn't have to be a big garbage can. One of the requirements is that the garbage can have a cover.
We can get one.
And I could do that if we needed to.
Sales of enormous.
Okay, does anyone have any questions for Ms. Cook about some Feed the Stupid program? Did I say the right name?
Feeding the Gulf Coast is the organization. They get federal funds.
Any other?
Good.
Any other questions? Okay, what's the pleasure of council?
I make a motion if she wants to do it, then go ahead and let her go at it. I take a lot of pleasure in giving out the food, several different programs, and I know to me it's very rewarding to see that you have people that's going to take advantage of it. There's no doubt.
We have a motion, is there a second?
I'll second.
Call for discussion.
Any discussion on the motion?
I have a question, this came up recently somewhere else.
Sure.
Does your insurance cover that, your insurance on town hall? Thank you.
I think you probably cover that like any other activity, I think.
Take a vote. And you, Mr. Cullen?
Yeah.
Yes.
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 Okay. You did that very well.
You did, weren't you?
Okay, thank you.
Can I bring up one more
Oh,
little?
she gonna push her button.
Yeah, I'm gonna push my luck.
You had it.
There's a gentleman who some of you know, he's a retired gentleman, his name is Broward Wood Jr., I believe. And Broward Wood, who some of us who've been around here a long time knew, Lee Wood's brother's son. He goes by Avery. He's moved back to the area after living, he went into the military and lived in New Mexico for many years. Mr. Wood has spent his life, when he come back home, taking wonderful photographs, mostly black and white, of old homesteads, old people. He has some pictures of one of the early fun days, beautiful, museum-worthy photographs, those that I've seen. We would like very much, sometime this summer, late in the summer, maybe July, to show some of his photographs to the area folks, maybe have a little light refreshments. We have easels, the library has, that we can display, like a little art exhibit. We love the photos. I've seen them for years as he'd come home and show me. At this point in his life, I believe Mr. Wood is about my dad's age. He would be around 90 years old. He can't remember who some of the folks are. We would love to get some of the older members of the community who have lived here for most of their lives to come and help us identify some of these people.
She keeps looking straight.
No. I'm thinking you and me, we've been here a long time.
Look
Margaret.
at Jane.
Let me look at somebody else, I'm gonna make you mad. This is just an idea at this point, but I wouldn't take it any farther without bringing it to the board and asking you guys if you thought this would be something we could do in our community. And then as we can develop this plan and get some more people involved in planning it, we'll come back to you. So does anybody have any?
I can only speak for one, and I think we're going to have a great opportunity to be able to do this.
Me too.
I think it will be a big miss.
I love his photographs. He has even expressed the idea of maybe putting some of them in a book, and of course being 25 years in the library, I would love to have this as a part of our library's collection.
At one time,
Yeah, that's all I was
we had,
thinking.
yeah,
It'd
one
be
time we
great
had
if
the
he would like to go in.
pictures of all the people that served on the town council and all on the walls, but some pictures like this on our walls would be
Yes,
excellent.
yes.
Like if there may be donations or copies or something that he would
And
consider in the
I think
future.
he's willing. I think he loves his home.
Yes, he does.
And I would love to do this. It's just kind of in its infancy, but like I say, I would not go any further without talking to the council and making sure this was something you guys were on board with.
His family's history and roots is probably as deep as anybody in the area in our community. So you're just going to come back to us with
I
that?
can come back to you with it, but I didn't want to go any further if you didn't like the idea.
Everybody good with the bringing back more information?
Okay,
That's what we're doing.
great. Thank you very much.
I love his shit.
Me too.
And I saw some of his pictures.
Good.
Front page pictures.
I'm glad.
Bob Sykes, Lee Wood,
Correct.
Charles Barfield.
Okay, there was an agenda change. Can we do that? Move that up?
Yes, if we could move Travis Hall up.
Okay.
He was online. Wasn't sure he was going to be here
He
again.
goes by Avery, his father was Broward, and his name, Broward is a part of his name too, but. I'm not
Okay,
sure.
if you're following the agenda, Mr. Hall's presentation was actually the clerk, but Mr. Hall is here himself. we want to move him up to the slot behind Ms. Goodkin on the agenda audience. And, that's what that has
Miss Margaret, she contacted me here about a month and a half ago or so about Wausau needing some cameras at the Possum Palace, and she asked me to give a quote, and I sent that to her, and she's going to not answer any questions that y'all might have. Y'all, I'm assuming y'all looked at the quote, give y'all a little bit of literature of the cameras that we're suggesting y'all go with, and just answer any questions you got.
I asked Travis at first, like I asked, to look at what we had and see if he could redo that and make it work and all, and his opinion is, we got to go through the goods down there.
Well, I mean, it's you're looking at outdated system, you know, so.
Okay. You start the conversation with this. Good. Okay. As I recall, at our last meeting, we talked about the quote, and we didn't have it then, and our concern was that if it was of a certain amount, it may be something that had to be bid. The problem with us having Travis's quote is that he is now exposed to his hand, and if it does have to be bid, what do we do with that? We didn't have a quote, we just said it's since then, we had it last month, so I'm not sure that us having a quote is a good thing, and I'm not sure that we were looking for a quote, we were looking for certainly the information that you're giving us and all. I've still got a concern that we bought a piece of equipment on the recommendation of an employee, and to begin with, it seemed to be a good thing. And we can't find and can't get the service from the person. Is there anything we can do about that? Do we know if they're still in the area? Or?
They're still in the area, I think. He still works. I think it Wausau. He's a correctional officer. He just does this as a sideline.
And if we're ready to step away from it, then getting some information on something new is the next logical step. That's a good thing to do. Are we ready to step away from the fact that what did that cost us? I was thinking it was between $3,000 and $4,000.
And right now on that system down there, we're paying $2,700 a year or a little better just to have the internet down there for the system that we can't access. Our internet's $225 a month down there because it's a business.
So we have it broke down what it would cost for the internet service in your,
We don't have internet with this one.
You don't have internet. Basically what I'm going to do for town of Wausau is basically going to put a networking system over Wausau. Everything's going to be shot through the water tower. I'm assuming that's the highest point in Wausau or structure-wise. And it's going to be shot back down to the town hall here. So the DVR, the NVR will all be housed here. So you can do away with your DSL out there, which is saving $2,700 a month.
A year.
A year, excuse me, yes. Plus you'll be able to build out this system as well. You know, you can start with 6 cameras. I think what I proposed, I think what you got to have, you have less or whatever. I just proposed that, but what we, our engineer that we have, he looked at the Google's first site, and that's what he proposed. Y'all have down there at the Possum Palace, but you can be able to build it out to 16, 32 cameras, whatever you want. There are 5-mile radiuses. You can put them at, you can put them anywhere you want to, as long as you have a line of sight to the water tower.
We could basically cover the whole town if we want to secure our streets or the park out at George Rogers Park.
As long as you have a line of sight to the water tower, you're good.
I like that.
Okay, good.
I like having this, our fire department, or.
Now this is the camera system. This is what the camera offers. I know y'all don't understand all of that, but it is very, very high-end camera. And this is the NVR. My stuff comes with 7-year warranty on the equipment for the camera system and everything, and a 10-year warranty on the ubiquitous or the networking system. and it comes with lifetime tech support as well.
Is there a monthly operating fee for it?
Now, you can send your stuff up to the cloud, like if you're afraid somebody's gonna break into here and steal the NVR, you can send it to a cloud, like $7 a camera per month, but I don't think it's gonna be necessary here.
So this is a one-time charge?
One time.
And you said, how,
Lifetime
I
fee.
think I want to ask you. How many different ways can you access these cameras?
Well, there's different ways, you got the NVR here you can do, each board member or whoever, secretary, whoever, can access it through iPads, iPhones, computers, IP addresses on a computer if you want to give that out to specific people. And there's other ways that we're looking at now that we're going to be talking to some of the elected officials that's here tonight about doing other things that's going to secure your property more as well.
So we can put 6 cameras as long as they got all over Wausau, as long as they got a line of sight to the
6 cameras, 8 cameras, 16, 32.
I mean, you recommended 6.
Yeah, just in the coffee house, to cover everything.
Oh,
But,
just down there.
but you might not want to cover the basketball court. See, they was covering everything. So, y'all will look at that and we'll dissect it or we'll build it up more if you want to have.
Okay, I misunderstood you on that. So to go out there to Rogers Park, we have to have more cameras. If we wanted to look, have one here, we'd have to have, of course, more cameras. Okay, tell me what that's about.
But that was just a proposal. That's not what I that's just a proposal I gave.
It depends on, you want to cover out here where our walking trail is, and you know, where the tennis courts are, and then have to play that, we have cameras, places to go to the courts. Right now, we're just doing crossing cameras.
Even though the cameras are wireless, you still have to have power to the camera to power up the POE switch in the camera. So the town of Wausau can do that, or we can do that for licensed electricians as well.
And then they asked you about the mechanics many years ago, we tried to get something similar to this, our public works department had to put it here. We wound up with we had some stationary cameras. They kind of overlap and they kind of work. But are these cameras stationary? Do they swivel? Are they?
The kind that I'm proposing, they're 2 millimeter stationary camera. You have 3 millimeters, you have 4 millimeters that you can zoom in and out on, and you also have PTCs that you can actually move from a remote location, move and watch, whatever you want to watch. But I propose two megabit cameras.
But if they move, then somebody has to move. They're not.
You can, I believe, I'll get back to you on that, but I believe they can self-move back and forth, sweep back and forth. They're a 360 camera.
But if you place the stationary, part of our problem was not necessarily the provider of service at that time. We may have been a camera or two shy of what we did because sometimes with overlap, you can find where that dark spot is, where that missing spot is. And also, it was difficult at night. We had, when I remember, we had a chainsaw that turned off the back of the truck. You can see the activity, but it's like a look at the clock back there. You see the hands go around, but I tell you, I couldn't see a face.
At nighttime?
It didn't do some.
You said at nighttime?
Yeah.
Yeah, our capabilities on so far, these are 100 foot. And the more expensive you get, the more footage that they do have. That's what, you want to show that before. That's a live preview of a restaurant that we done that time on TV for about 9 p.m.
Very good, clear.
One of our biggest places for vandalism is in our cemetery.
And a camera. You can see very good detail. And you can actually zoom in on that screen there with your hand. If you're on got a device, you can zoom in like that. The camera's not zooming in, you just zoom in the picture. But you can, I don't know if you see the bend view, better and all that.
I like the motion.
Travis, when you mount on these cameras, I know they're not, they're stationary, and of course, it's the higher they go, the more they're gonna cover, but just on the average mount, shooting out, what kind of perimeter are you talking about cover?
They got a very wide range, once in 180-degree range.
Okay,
On that, they're very wide range.
so like, we put 1 1/4 or in the Boston Palace, we cover the whole floor.
Pretty much so. You might lose a little bit of corner, but it pretty much goes.
You know,
Now, there was not vision, if you want to look at the
well, that's the
our
hour,
capability of it, out there.
that was black and white, it's pretty clear.
What our,
The proposal that we're looking at just covers the recreation center, across the county, and even the field. What is this proposal?
I sent him the email, I sent a layout of the place, but the engineer built it. It showed specific cameras, the position of the cameras on the poles and such as that. You can get into that.
I have seen, but I think I didn't know what it was, I didn't know what kind it is.
Basically, they're covering that whole field.
The whole house area. I can print those out. I can move them.
Now, just so you know, concerning the internet, if you still want internet down there, we can shoot internet back from here that you're already paying for, back to the Hospital Palace and still have a good APM access point down there. You can still have internet down there if y'all have things going on there and these internet capabilities.
Why would they ever get done like?
We had to have a free system.
It's a possibility.
I think the system that we have down there can have internet operate, he's saying that this one does not, but if we want it down there, we can get it down there. The only reason we want it down there is if somebody's doing the,
Don't show us something, we need a Wi-Fi.
yeah, the people that rent it from time to time, and the fun day, and the fire department, beauty contest and things like that. But if we can shoot from here back down, there's still another one that costs us anymore.
Well, it costs you the equipment and the labor, but as far as not to pay, you'll pay for it.
Yeah, we're already paying for it, it just costs whatever it takes for you to get, to shoot back down there.
And just to clarify, our system does require internet service, we just put the system here instead of down there. That's the difference.
With what we already have system. We would save $2,700 a year.
That's correct.
How long will it take the system pay for itself?
If you look at my proposal and you deduct that, you're
Yearly?
$2,700 a year.
They're about 3 years or less.
That's about a little too.
Never left 2 years.
2 is 3 months. But then you've got a system that you can actually build out and work with in the future instead of being isolated down there to that system.
So the only future expense we would have if we expanded would be the expansion cost of adding more cameras throughout town or wherever we want to add.
And I guess that would change depending on the camera.
Yeah, depending on what style camera. you want.
Inflation.
Yeah. Of course, that, you always have that, labor and all involved with it. And if you can get power there, that's a key thing to places you want, you gotta get some type of power source there, local, stuff.
What's the frequency of ambulance and that, what?
With just the cameras being down there, it is decreasing greatly. And we haven't had a lot lately.
Keeping them on
They don't know they're not working.
Yeah, it's just
They will
a,
have to deny, but they
It's
don't.
just a-
You don't know.
Don't put that in the
Well,
yeah, but
someone got
about
called
live
out,
cameras.
whatever
They
they.
need to cut that
now
out.
these cameras, we can also, I don't know about them cameras down there, because, you know, I don't put those in. But these cameras here also have, capability to do a tripwire. You can build a box around something that you want secured, and it has the capability of sending emails to you if something does go wrong. That way you can log in and start watching what's going on.
Do we have any obligation to the person or company that,
No,
are we out of
yes. In fact,
relationship with them?
yes.
And having a risk.
Doubt that. You know, it took him so long to get the system in and all that, he didn't even, and I guess that he may have knew it wasn't going to be what we needed. He didn't even ask for, he got one drawing and just donated the rest of it, because he never come back and finished anything, you know.
Well, we can, it's our equipment now, yeah.
You want to trade it
Don't
out?
trade, we can't trade it.
I don't use that kind of stuff.
You gonna
And we
buy
can't,
Karen?
you know, we voted on it and we didn't enter, so we can't make everything big deal. I'm very disappointed in his representation of himself and what happened down there. In my opinion, every board, maybe we didn't know how to correct it, but it. Okay, I guess a couple of things then. We need to decide if we still want to do surveillance. And it has been trying to help. We put this many things come across here when there's been vandalism. We want to continue surveillance. And if we do, is this the quote we're looking at within the expenditure authority without having to be it? That bothers me that it's much higher, Mr. Hall, than what we have, but we see why. We understand why. We're not getting what we got. But it concerns me that once in a while we do this, and this is not your fault. Once in a while we do this, we'll call somebody, say, can you help me? And then we get a quote, and if we need to bid things, we need to do that up front before we know what anybody's figures are. Does our purchasing policy allow us to negotiate and buy, is it like this and 10,000, or to, what do we?
5,000.
5,000 please.
Well, we have in the past, you know, split these invoices into two, you know, two separate invoices, two separate quotes, you know, we can quote the tax cameras, you know, and then quote the installation and stuff like that. Now, without the installation charge, you would be well under the 5,000, you know.
I mean, come back and just put your main network in and come back and have cameras if you need. You might not need 6 cameras, you might only need 3 cameras down there, 4 cameras. So then you're going to be cutting off the labor and you're cutting off cameras. Then you can add cameras as you choose to.
Okay, you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Will that pass the audit?
Yes, sir.
Will it pass the tips?
Yes, sir.
Legal opinion?
I think so, yes, sir.
Okay. That may not be the best way to do it, but because we're where we are, we've got to do the best thing that we can, I think. And we know, I think everybody knows Travis's work and knows his reputation and things like that, so that may not be a question with us tonight, it's just whether or not we're following the things we ought to do as council.
Do we have to take some more bids?
No,
Not if we.
if we just did the
We
installation and had the cameras as we need.
And take it as two separate things, and that puts it under our expenditure part, our limits, without bidding. If we want to do it, we can do that. I'm assuming we can do that. You understand what we're saying?
You can chop it up,
And you can chop it, and you can make it fit with what we need.
Yeah, the main thing we got to have is the rocket and 1 camera, and after that we can build out from there. But, yeah, we can do that.
Mr. Mayor, I would say this. Chad did tell me through Twitter, and I pulled up, you can kind of ask whatever you want to be put in, and they'll give you an estimate of what all the cost, labor and all. And it's about $1,500 more than what he's proposed. But they can, I'm not saying,
Yeah,
I'm not saying you figure, I'm not saying that was from the big corporate office.
What I usually charge, I'm underbidding what I usually charge, so.
And I'm not trying to
Yeah,
say,
and we don't doubt that, I didn't know that, but I don't doubt that. Things you do also.
and I'm not saying it's swayed, but it's just a thought.
Okay, any other discussion on the proposal? Any questions?
Is
Any
he gonna
questions?
put it all in before we pay him, or are we gonna pay him half and then pay him the rest after he's got it in?
How I work is, if I know you, which I do, I don't collect anything until I'm done, until the system is up and going,
And we're satisfied.
until you satisfied.
What fund did we take this out of?
It'll come out of, some out of, recreation, some of our general funds, some out of,
Maybe come out with one fund because we may
Yes.
expand the
Yes.
cameras some other places.
We have three funds.
We had a trailer and a bush hog that took a ride one weekend, and we had a trailer and
the backhoe.
backhoe.
Yeah.
So I'd like to see maybe something, think about expanding our maintenance yard out here, maybe out to the fire department. I don't know if the fire department can watch anything, but.
Gas.
Gas, yeah.
It walks regular gas does.
Okay, any other discussions for the sake of time? Any discussion on any discussion or what's the pleasure of the council on the approval of Mr. Hall to currently replace what we have and we're talking about expanding? You said you did you see the cameras? Do we have the number of cameras that we need to cover what?
I think down there you have 4, if I'm not mistaken, and our engineers proposed 6, but we can start out with 4 and then build out from there.
And it needs to start with 6 it needs to start with 4 things working now.
And I think Travis is proposing to strategically place them in different.
Yeah, I talked with
Well,
Tony too, he asked to do a few things too, so we took that into consideration.
Okay.
Stuff that's been stolen, we don't have a lawnmower or whatever it is, that's worth, he said about 15 grand down there. So you definitely would have to be watching that shed down
Okay.
there. And the engineer, what they done is just propose it, that's not where they have to go, we can put them where we choose to.
Well, I'm cautious to be careful about that because if the engineer did it, he's certainly will know. I don't need to be.
Yeah, I rely on them, they do this for a living, they do border security, everything in the United States government, so they know what they're doing.
Okay.
We do double check.
What's the pleasure of the board?
If we want to keep security outside, I suggest we accept the proposal.
Is that a motion?
Yes, sir.
I have a motion from Mr. Carter, is there a second to the motion?
I will say.
I have a second, is there any? We have a second to the motion, is there any discussion on the motion? The Bible says that wisdom is justified for children, and I think that means if we do something and it turns out right, that was good. So if we do this and it turns out right, and we save the cost of this thing over the course of 3 years, and we still got the service, it will be a good thing.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Paul, how you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Colbert? Yes. Mr. Carter?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes.
Thank you.
Okay, and you'll start in a couple of weeks or?
Yes, sir, probably.
How long before it be through?
It takes probably 3-4 days to build it out.
What would be the possibility of us getting some kind of demonstration?
When you get
it installed,
Well, that's the thing, you know, meeting late, I'm trying to, they actually do a demonstration, but you have to be within the,
They're all retired.
yeah. And they can do it, they can do it sitting in front of a computer at home, and they can do a demonstration of the whole system and function of it. But when we're done, we'll do a demonstration with you and show you how to use it.
I'd love for you to show us what we're getting and how, I don't put it on my phone, I don't put it on my computer house, when I go forward, I don't know if I said that I tapped into something, like that. I would like to see it working out. I want to watch this a little closer, not because of you, but because we've just been burned by something else.
We like for you to ask questions, so we enter them in again, we don't have to enter them in later on.
Thank you for coming, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. All right.
When you get about finished, give me a call.
Huh?
You get about finished, give me a call. You give me a presentation, you
Speak on our proposal and you can.
Okay. Okay. We also have with us tonight Mr. Hank Hamilton, County Administrator for Washington County, and I think he's going to address this as well, Mr. Hamilton.
Hey, good evening. Thank
Good
you,
to see you.
thank you, council, for having, I just wanted to come by. The Board of Commissioners have had a super meeting with Chipley and the school district a couple of weeks ago. I'm sure you may have read about it in the paper, seen some of the reports on it or whatever, talked to some of their commissioners. Productive meeting, and so as the commissioners talked more about it, they thought it would be a good idea to include all the municipalities on the next meeting so that we can open the dialogue between the county commissioners and each council for the municipalities within the county. So July the 24th at 5:30 p.m. at the Ag Center, we're going to, that's the tentative date. So far it seems like all the municipalities are on board. So July the 24th at 5:30, we're going to hold a meeting at the Ag Center, and we would like for the town of Wausau to join us. The topics of discussions are simply, what can the county do for you, and what can you do for the county? And so the commissioners are really serious about making sure that, let's say Wausau is going to have a project that ties in, that goes up to the, outside the town limits, and then if it might be beneficial for the county to take over and just expand it without having to remobilize some contractors or something like that. So how can we be good stewards of tax dollars in cooperation with the municipalities? And so that's just the intent. So as far as agenda items go, the agenda items are going to be discussions of what kind of cooperation can include the county and the municipality. So we want to extend that invitation to the town of Wausau. July 24th, 5:30 at the Ag Center.
That's on Monday.
So it gives you plenty of time to think of questions and comments and discussion points.
Do we need to respond that we will be there?
Well, no, not formally. Just say, hey, you got to have we'd like to have a quorum, so we can have enough council members there to speak on behalf of the town.
I'd like to see us go as many of us as could. We're partners with the county. We always try to assist. Usually we're asking for the assistance, but occasionally we have been able to assist. So if we can, I'd like for us to plan to do that. And maybe at our July meeting, at least by our July meeting, that's a couple of months from now, we will have a chance to look at our calendars and we'll normalize things.
Yeah, all right, thank you so much. We appreciate it. Okay.
And I watched the video, I wish I watched the video on the Chipley Circle of those other meetings, and they did seem to cover, I was going to see
Yes, sir.
the school board and the city and all, and thank you for the information.
Absolutely. And as always, if I can do anything for the council, please don't hesitate.
Okay. Are you prepared? I know that part of this, the board is after concerning enforcement. We don't know what you come prepared to speak.
Well, that was the only thing I was going to talk to you about. But I will say, I have brought this up to the attention of some commissioners. It's not something that we are going to rule out, an interlocal agreement, especially as Wausau being a big thoroughfare to get into the rest of the county, right? So, but now we need to discuss what the interlocal agreement would look like. Would we put a limit on the amount of cases? Would we put a limit on where at? Would we, what would the price be? What kind of workload? Because this may be something that if we bring it up with all the municipalities, that is something that somebody else may want to entertain as well. So what would that look like with our one code enforcement officer? I will say there is some interest from the commissioners. So we haven't stopped the conversation about it for sure. So.
At one time that happened, a former planner and code enforcement officer did do our municipality.
That's correct, yeah.
And we'd like to reinstate that.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, and I have expressed that to a few commissioners, not all of them. I still got one or two to talk to about it, but there's a few that I've talked to about it, and they said, yeah, let's iron out some details and see if we can't make it work, and then we'll go from there. So.
And I think for leaders, you might say, well, we're already doing that planning, and that includes part of this.
But anyway, that's did Mr. Carroll get in touch with you about the driveway?
He did,
Okay.
and that is in my report. I met with Mr. Hamilton the day before, and Mr. Carroll was supposed to be here, but he had an obligation he couldn't, but the next day, Mr. Terrell called me and said that if our people wanted to apply for the permit and they wanted the county to do it, there'd be a fee, but they would come into Wausau and do our driveways.
And they'll keep the fee.
And they'll keep the fee, they've always kept the fee.
That's right.
And
And that's good.
y'all, if y'all don't mind, y'all pray for Mr. Terrell. He's in ICU this week, so, you know, just throw that out there. He's a good guy, and he's our public works director, and we just, if y'all would lift him up in prayer, we appreciate that.
Very good.
Thanks.
Thank you for coming.
All right, thank you for having us.
And you have your daughter with you?
So if y'all don't know, this one like Gina, but anyway, so thanks. Now we're gonna go spend money in Wausau now.
Good. Thank you for coming.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
Thank you for what you do for Washington County.
All right.